I wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for you. If it wasn't for everyone else trying to steal my thunder and make me feel like I'm not as good as I think I am. You know what? It's not my fault that I drank this much. It's not my fault that I don't have any money. It's not. It's got to be everybody else's fault. Sound familiar? Let's go. Good morning. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Wayne. I'm an alcoholic of 23 years, and I introduce that to every single video because I used to blame everybody, everything, every person, and every situation for me being an alcoholic. Every situation for me being in the position I was, and it couldn't possibly be my fault because I was just trying to be the best human that I could. Is that something that rings a bell with you? Because a lot of us folks have ego that will drive us to places that we didn't even think we would be. Today's video is stop blaming everybody else. Start doing things that will make your life better. I pulled an excerpt out of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Now, if that's not your thing, folks, and it's not gravitating with you already, this small excerpt might mean something that you can actually grab onto, because a lot of us, regardless if we're alcoholics, addicts, parents, teachers, lawyers, rich people, poor people, we all blame people for our circumstances. We all put ourselves in a position to where it couldn't possibly be something we did. It couldn't possibly be us trying to just make the world a poopy place. It's got to be someone else, because I'm just trying to make my world a little bit gooder. Does that make any sense? I don't know. If it does, drop a like, because it could be you. I know it was me. And pause for the calls. And that's just what we do, especially me as an alcoholic, is, I could put it on everybody and never accept responsibility for the things that happen and the things that don't happen. All I have to do is try to put it into action, trying to make each day a little bit better than yesterday was. Now, that's a lot of rambling, so I'm just going to move this mic a little bit closer. Well, is that distracting? Well, you know what? It helps me communicate a little bit more clearly with you guys, and I don't know. I just think the better that this audio comes through, the more likely you might hear it. Here is the small excerpt. And if you're getting ready to switch off and you're getting ready to say, you know what, this isn't for me, just listen to it and see if it rings a bell. I said ring a bell. Ding. So this is from How It Works, Chapter 5 of Alcoholics Anonymous. Now, the link is below. And if the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous is not your thing, and that term throws you off, give it a look, because I'm telling you, everyone, regardless of your situation, can find something in there that could be a little helpful. What usually happens? The show doesn't come off very well. He begins to think life doesn't treat him right. I used to think that all the time. He decides to exert himself more. He becomes on the next occasion still more demanding and more gracious, as the case may be. Still, the play does not suit him. Admitting he may be somewhat at fault, he is sure that other people are more to blame. He becomes angry, indignant, self-pitying. What is his basic trouble? Is he not a self-seeker? Even while trying to be kind? Is he not a victim of the delusion that he can wrest satisfaction and happiness out of his own world and manage it well? Is it not evident to all the rest of the players that these are things he wants? And do not his actions make each of them wish to retaliate, snatching all they can get out of the show? Is he not, even in the best moments, a producer of confusion rather than harmony? Folks, this goes on and on and on and on and on, okay? Because what this means is, so let's say this person was in a play and things weren't going the way that he thought it should go, he gets angry. And the person is not willing to accept that maybe their performance is lacking. To him, he's doing a bang up job and he's doing the things that he's supposed to do. It's got to be everybody else, and it's got to be all the things around him that are making this show horrible and making this show not go well. It can't be his fault. And that's what today's video is all about. Blaming other people for your circumstance. I'm not preaching whatsoever, but I did a tiki-taki, and that tiki-taki was about creating positive self-talk. And positive self-talk is when you don't let someone else determine your circumstances by saying you cannot, you can't do this, you can't do that, and blah, 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 and on, right? Because narcissists and people who want to control you, and this goes back to self-centeredness and blaming others, they will put it into a position, or they will put whatever, they will put a spin on things to make you the person who's doing wrong, and to make you the person who is at fault and who is lacking and who is wrong and busted and not good enough, and all these other adjectives that will place them at this higher pedestal. Now, I used to be guilty of this as well. And I did this with everything in my life. I did this with my profession. I did this with my relationships. I did it with, parenting. I put blame on everybody else when things weren't going well. Even when things were going great, I accepted wholehearted responsibility because it had to be me who made this the best situation on the planet, and not everybody else who did like 9 parts of something to make this whole product happen. It was me. And that's the way that I placed blame on other folks. My childhood sucked. Therefore, I'm an alcoholic. My marriage sucks. Therefore, I'm going to spend all our money and drink more. My boss sucks. And I've given these analogies before, and because they hold weight, and they hold weight for a lot of us. Let me ask you a question. And you tell me in the comments if this sounds familiar to you. Now, if you are in a relationship, if you are in a job you don't like, or whatever the situation is, does this question make sense for you? When was the last time that you blame somebody else for what is going on in your life? Did you blame them for you not making the amount of money you want? Did you blame them for the depression that you have? Did you blame your childhood on the reason why you are an aggressive person? Now, that may be true, folks, but in adulthood, in a mature state of mind, we have the obligation and ability to do the things in order to cultivate a different perspective. Now, if that was too many words, because I think it might have been, let's make it simple. It's up to you to make a change. Nobody else is going to change you. You may have had a shitty childhood. You may have had an abusive husband or wife. You may have even had a child that was just ungodly and impossible to control. These things might be true in your life, and you might be even poor, because I've experienced all that, folks. It was up to me to not accept my circumstance, and it was up to me to accept responsibility for my own alcoholism, even though it's a disease. Now, that disease has to be treated on a daily basis. I got past not drinking. That made me sober. Now I have to do the work in order to live in recovery. And that means that I have to be responsible for the things that I do, and I have to be accountable for the things I don't do. Make sense for anybody? If it has, and you've enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. And if you got lost in the sauce, please drop a comment below. And life is a garden, folks. Dig it. And I just want to throw a shout out to Josh G. You the man. Don't give up. Don't give up, man. what will be. My heart is still with you guys, and I hope that your son is doing well, and I hope that he is able to grab on to the fact that he has a beautiful child and, find that light that is there. That child needs him. I know so I'm not even going to harp on that. Donna Armstrong, I didn't forget about you. AK, you the one man. Keep doing that thing out in Pennsylvania. Steve in Canada, fentanyl's a beast and you beat it, and I'm proud of you. Please pass that message along. Don't give up on that fight, and you guys are worth it. Rich, you my friend. Give me a shout out anytime. All right. There's a whole lot of you. Jonathan, there's a whole lot. I want to thank you all. This has been One Sober to Another. I appreciate you guys. I am going to drop this on the podcast, and hopefully it makes sense for somebody. I may have rambled. I don't know. Kind of do that. Have a good day. I'll see you in the next one.